Hello, my lovely friends. I'm Michaela. Welcome to my astrology channel, Today Energy. In this video, we will dive into the details regarding the upcoming total lunar eclipse. It will happen on the 8th of November. The moon will be positioned at 16 degrees of Taurus, right across the sun at 16 Scorpio. In the first half of the video, as usually, we will talk more about the general energies of this particular astrological events, while in the second half of the video, I'll give a brief forecast for each zodiac sign. Now, if you would like to know more about the eclipses, about what they represent, how they work, how they form, then I advise you to check a video on my channel called Solar Eclipse in Scorpio, which I uploaded about 2 weeks ago. Be it, you can listen the first half an hour of this video, in which I generally explain about the significance and logic of eclipses, or of course you can listen the whole video, since we are currently in the season of eclipses, the last eclipse season for this year. Eclipses always come in pairs, so the solar eclipse in Scorpio that took place on the 25th of October, just 2 weeks ago, is very much connected to this lunar eclipse in Taurus, which is actually a full moon. Yes, lunar eclipses are always very, very strong and powerful full moons. While the solar eclipse 2 weeks ago was with the participation of the south lunar node, known as Ketu in Vedic astrology, this lunar eclipse in Taurus at 16 degrees of Taurus will happen due to proximity of the moon to the north lunar node, this karmic point that talks about the future, about new exciting beginnings. So it's an interesting energy here, because lunar eclipses, full moons, they usually talk about fruitions, about culminations, about change of course, about reaping rewards of your efforts, about seeing with more clarity the situation, and hence deciding which direction to continue, if to continue at all. But in this case, the moon conjuncts the north node. So yes, we have this energy of culmination, maybe ending something, but it all comes to its own place in order to continue moving forward. You know, the lunar nodes, they are karmic points, and they usually guide us towards our own growth, evolution, development. They show the soul's journey, the path that the soul has chosen when incarnating in this particular body, in this particular period of time, family, social background, mentality, and so on, which comes with your personality. And so, yeah, the South Node talks about your past experiences, your comfort zone, your talents, while the North Node is exactly about your life mission and path of development. So seems like with this eclipse, we are still like with the solar eclipse in Scorpio. Yes, it was solar eclipse about new beginnings, as new moons, right? But it was with Ketu, the south node. So it was wrapping up something, giving up on something, letting go, releasing of something. In this case, we still are in a process of releasing and letting go, of understanding, forgiving, leaving behind, yeah, because it's a full moon. A realization of some sort, but this all is in order to feel lighter, to shed some old skin, and to proceed confidently and with excitement further. Now, generally speaking, Taurus is a fixed earth sign, so it's grounded, it's stable. Taurus is very much interested in the material, in the comfort, in the stability, in the sense of security. Fixed energy is here to preserve, to maintain. So to be honest, fixed energy feels quite stressed. It's stressful for Taurus, for instance, to change and to move out of its comfort zone. On global level, Taurus rules agriculture, food, consumers' goods, supply chains, money, currencies, financial markets, and markets overall, as well as our possessions and our values. Yeah, Taurus is ruled by Venus. Taurus talks about how we make money and what we spend them on. Yeah, what we value in our life and what we want to preserve and grow. What are our resources? Let me share with you now the charts of this event, of this eclipse. You can see this is the sky kind of around us, around the Earth, on the 8th of November 2022. It's for 1:02. Don't mind the distribution of the houses, because this is specifically for my time zone. But of course, you can build in any program or website for astrology online the chart for this date and for this eclipse. Just put your time zone for your location. Most importantly, we see on this chart our key player, the moon. Here she is at 16 Taurus. And of course, as any full moon, the moon makes an opposition to the sun at 16 Scorpio. It's very important what conjunctions make luminaries at this very moment. We discuss this very carefully because the energy of this eclipse will be with us not only on this very day, not only the 2 weeks ahead, but it will play out in our lives even 6 months after this particular date and event. Such is the nature of eclipses. So we see actually on this chart that the sun conjuncts Venus in Scorpio. Venus is the ruler of this eclipse. So kind of whatever happens now on the sky serves the lord of the house where this happens, right? So the owner of Taurus, let's say, is Venus. And Venus is in Scorpio, further enhancing the topic of values. What do we value? What are our resources? What we like, what we love, yeah, what gives us pleasure. And of course, on a global scale, money and finances. But clearly, you can see as well on this chart that the moon precisely conjuncts Uranus in Taurus. And Uranus brings here the disruptive, chaotic energy. Uranus is the planet of surprises and sudden changes. Uranus definitely wants freedom and authenticity. He is capable of making rebellions, earthquakes, revolutions, in order for the things to progress, to develop, to move towards the future. Yes, it's going to be quite stressful energy, as I explained, because the fixed signs, Taurus and Scorpio, as well as Aquarius and Leo, really change hardly. It's difficult for them because the nature of the fixed signs is to preserve what has been already created. But we know that growth and evolution never happens in stagnation, right? So we have to move forward. And this is what eclipses are meant to do in our lives. We have eclipses every year. This year we have 4 of them. This is the last eclipse for 2022. We have seasons of eclipses every 6 months, which means that usually in spring and in autumn, and at least this year we have 2 eclipses in spring and now 2 eclipses in the autumn. And those are the times in which we are pushed by destiny, whether gently and slightly, or it might feel for other people much more abrupt and exciting. depends on our stage of development, but this is all a push towards our progress and development. So this eclipse definitely wants to take us out of our comfort zone. As always, I advise us during eclipse period to be more like a detached observer, you know, kind of more to go with the flow of the energies, more to trust the destiny, the big plan of the universe. If there are changes coming to your life, don't fight the events. Don't be afraid of these changes. It's very important to be conscious, to realize that there are these patterns of cause and effect, that even though maybe things seem quite crazy around eclipse period, because the energy is much more chaotic, is like a vertex around us, spinning around like a hurricane, but it's just meant to distribute eventually things in their own places, and most probably it does follow some divine order and some kind of cause and effect in our life. So it's very important during eclipse seasons overall, this is about 1.5 months, to be calm, to be wise, to be conscious, to observe what's going on around you, keep a diary, write down things, because maybe the events will not exactly manifest the same day, even though you might feel them already 2 weeks before this date or 2 weeks after, but really they can spread over the following 6 months in your life. So even slight messages, meetings, news, offers right now can mean that the snowball will grow and grow further and further, and the real manifestation might come in 4, 5, or 6 months. And accept these changes with gratitude. Accept that everything happens for a reason and for the best at the end, even though we might not see it while we are inside of the hurricane. Universe takes care of us and help us align with the big plan, with our destiny, and especially so during eclipse seasons. So yes, the energies and the effects of this eclipse will be most intense up to 2 weeks after this date, the 8th of November, and the events brought by it can unfold over the next 6 months. This eclipse season, which is the second and last one for 2022, will end with the Sagittarius new moon on the 24th of November, while it started with the Aries full moon on the 9th of October. I really don't recommend us, even though we might feel much more intense and emotional during these eclipses, I don't recommend us do any emotional, hasty decisions, and definitely not to provoke ourselves any big important actions or changes in our life, like radical changes, simply because later, if we change our mind, it will be already quite hard to undo our actions or even decisions. But of course, if destiny pushes you towards something, like for instance, if there are changes at your workplace, if the company shuts down, if the management changes, if some of you will be, I don't know, for instance, like fired, then just don't give up, don't despair, because that means that there is this culmination, it's the ending point, it's the most you had to and could achieve at this particular workplace. And now the new path with Rahu opens up for you. But first we have to conclude the old, right? But of course, if you feel just quite nervous and intense, currently it's not a good idea for you to file for quitting or the job, or to file for divorce, and so on. 16th degree of Taurus is located in Virgo decane and in Scorpio Dwot. There you go. Once again, we have Scorpio energy involved in this Taurus eclipse. So remember also the ruler, Venus, is in Scorpio. So we're still talking about the energy of purging, of transforming, let's say, our own fears, insecurities, addictions, pains, grudges, traumas, attachments to something old, to something negative, right? Self-destructive habits, toxic relationships, addictions to something, in order to be able to make the leap into the future and be free and be authentic without any shame. The good news is that Venus, the ruler of this event, makes a positive aspect to Neptune in Pisces. You see this blue line? It's a trine. It's a trine between Scorpio Venus and Neptune in Pisces. So this is a beautiful water energy. So energy of love, possibly unconditional love. First thing first towards yourself, and then already to people you love and respect in your life. This is the energy of compassion, of inspiration. I assume that this indicates that we can heal through creativity, through art, through spirituality. Kind of, the energy of Neptune is to let down our guards, to let go of the insults, the feeling offended, of the keeping inside the venom, the traumas of Scorpio. It's kind of asks us to display humbleness, to have faith in the divine plan, right? Maybe some of you believe in angels, maybe some of you believe in the guiding forces of the universe, in the higher self, in God, of course, in the help of our ancestors. All of this spirituality, magic, faith is Neptune in Pisces. It has no borders. It does not judge, right? No judgments. So complete acceptance here, complete acceptance might be the key to let go, to wash the boundaries, the unhealthy ones, let's say, the self-protective walls that keep our fear inside us and keep us hence from progressing forward, the comfort zone, the addictions to comfort, to pleasures and so on. Well, or lack of self-acceptance, lack of self-love. If we let down these walls, these guards, so then we can truly love ourselves and be authentic and attract authentic people in our lives. What do we as well observe at the moment of this eclipse is this red triangle. It's called T-square, a T-square on the sky in the fixed energies. So Moon and Uranus wants to go against the grain. On a big scale, since Taurus is the sign of finances, we might talk about completely new, extraordinary financial system on the horizon, maybe new currencies, new values. Uranus is very technological planet, so maybe technology, genetics being introduced more and more into the agriculture and food production. Regarding markets and finances, maybe we will see more diversification, or collectivism, or everything going high-tech and online. But you see that there is this opposition with all these personal planets in Scorpio. So you see we have Mercury, the Sun, and Venus in Scorpio. So, for instance, Mercury in Scorpio is the mind which is very suspicious, which needs time to dig, to research for information. It might be a bit hard to let go. Venus in Scorpio is big fear of abandonment, of vulnerability. There might be some secret interests, deep emotional reactions, toxic thoughts and attachments and feelings. Scorpio represents powerful elites, powerful people, the government, the mafia, the banks, and they're trying to maintain control. They're people from the past. You see Ketu, the south node is here. It does talk about the past. So I hope in a personal level that since 2 weeks ago, 25th of October, when we had the solar eclipse in Scorpio with Ketu here, that each of us worked hard on letting go of such scorpionic topics. I mean, once again, if you wish, you can re-listen the audio, the video about this previous eclipse in this season. So the outlet for these intense energies, the fight for the new, the fear of letting go, well, the outlet seems to be Saturn in Aquarius. Saturn is the ancient ruler of Aquarius. Uranus is the modern ruler. And once again, with this eclipse is highlighted the fading already square between Saturn and Uranus. Yes, because throughout the whole 2021 and several times this year, especially at the beginning of October, we all collectively and each of us individually felt this fight, this intense energy between Saturn, which is the traditional, the old, the structure, and Uranus, the great liberator, and the fight for progress, for changes, for independence, for the new. But in this case, even though the moon sits right next to Uranus, so clearly we want the quantum leap into the future, to be authentic, independent, to be ourselves, to not comply anymore with the old rules, in order to not to provoke devastating earthquakes and rush changes just out of pure rebelliousness. We still have to here use, in a positive sense, the energies of Saturn. Saturn is very strong in Aquarius, in his own sign, and you see that he sits here at the apex of this T-square, at the top of the triangle. So it's like pressure cooker with steam coming out through here. So solid structures, sustainable advances and development. Saturn represents, in a positive sense, excellent discipline. Saturn is an experienced leader. Saturn likes to maintain and to preserve what works well. You know, it's like a rock amidst the stormy ocean. Saturn means to have our own inner core, like a spine. You know, Saturn rules the bones in the human body. It's the inner foundation, it's the confidence, and it's the boundaries as well. But we have to use it positively, right? Because Saturn works hard. Also, Saturn rules Capricorn, and it means great achievements, conquering the Mount Everest, if you will. So it comes slowly but surely, and once you do it, once you achieve it, you are hell proud of yourself, right? Because you know the amount of effort, the sweat that you put into your work. So it's a very realistic and sustainable success. So yeah, on this chart, we see a very strong fixed energy. 6 planets are in fixed signs. So that's why you might feel it already like quite a big tension, since the fixed energy is hard to move, hard to change. So my advice here is for all of us not to be stubborn, not to cling to the old, not to resist changes, not to cling to the comfort zone. You see, Uranus can be fun, actually. Uranus energy can be fun for people who love adventures and who are brave enough to be true with and to themselves. People who are not afraid to be different, who don't want to follow the crowd. It's kind of, Uranus wants to take Taurus, the bull, out of the rut. Maybe Uranus wants to modernize and change, of course, for the better, the life of, of Taurus, the bull. So yeah, it can be shocking, but it also can be exciting. So kind of, if possible, let's enjoy the changes. Remember, they bring us into the new world. Rahu, right? The new generation, the new technologies, the future lessons that our soul has to learn here, and new experiences. Last times we had eclipses on the same axis of Taurus and Scorpio was from November 2002 till April 2005. And specifically on 9th of November 2003, we had a lunar eclipse, just like right now, with Rahu, just like right now, and at 16 degrees of Taurus. So yeah, Uranus was not here, so of course the details are different, but the flavor is the same. So remember what important, significant events were happening in your life in autumn 2003, even maybe beginning of 2004. Remember the 6-month period of activation of the eclipses, because similar topics in your natal chart might repeat, as similar houses and points of your horoscope were triggered in a similar way back then. Then, since November 2012 up to October 2014, we as well had eclipses on the same axis, Scorpio-Taurus, just that the nodes were switched their positions. So in that time period, 2012-2014, the south node was moving through Taurus and the north node was moving through Scorpio. Nevertheless, again, there were eclipses in the same 2 houses of your natal chart. So again, food for thought, what was going on in your life back then. Now, this eclipse belongs to a Saros cycle 136. Its predecessor happened 18 years ago on the 28th of October 2004. And eclipses from the same Saros cycle tend to have similar energy, similar topics, again, maybe introducing some repeating themes or continuation of the same themes in your life. Back then, October 2004, it was a lunar eclipse with the north node, but at 5 degrees of Taurus. Now, just to mention a little bit about the mundane astrology, the one that deals with politics, economy, countries. So for the mundane astrology is very important, the path of the eclipse. So which countries can see its shadow, fall under the shadow of this eclipse. So this one will be visible above the Pacific Ocean, above East Asia, Canada. So for these countries, it might be important and, bring some changes for people. Yeah, mostly for people, because it's a lunar eclipse, and the moon in mundane astrology represents the nation, the people, the homeland, maybe homeland security, maybe food, agriculture, demographics, right? Children, elderly people, social cares, and so on. Also, remember that eclipse points remain sensitive and are activated, let's say, around 6 months after the date of the eclipse itself, when other planets, especially slower planets, pass through those degrees, through those points, or oppose them, or possibly even make squares to this point. So in this case, we're talking about the 16th degree of Taurus. Uranus, you see that Uranus is currently moving retrograde. So Uranus will touch 16 degrees 00 minutes of Taurus on the 1st of December this year. So if now nothing interesting or exciting or no changes happen in your life, don't rush to condemn astrology as not a working tool, because the activation might come when Uranus touches this particular degree. So beginning of December 2022. And then he will go direct again. So once again, he will conjunct the same degree on the 4th of November of 2020. On the 14th of March 2023. So 2 times Uranus will be walking on this sensitive eclipse point. Then Mars will hit 16 degrees Scorpio right across on the 4th of November 2023. And finally, Jupiter will give us its own Jupiterian way, the blessings to the themes of this eclipse in our life when he reaches 16 degrees of Taurus, and that will be already March 2024. So maybe the little snowflakes that falls right now here in your life will eventually turn into a little snowball, then bigger and bigger, and finally the avalanche of blessings, because Jupiter tends to bring luck and growth, expansion, popularity, and just success. Maybe the success will come in your endeavors in March 2024. Who will feel the most this eclipse? Well, people with personal planets like the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, or personal points like Ascendant, IC, Descendant, MC, from, let's say, from 11th till 21st degree of Taurus, the most, but also of Scorpio, of Aquarius, and of Leo. So from 11th till 21st degrees of the fixed signs, you will be, let's say, so hit or triggered, activated by this eclipse. For example, if your sun is located around these degrees, then maybe this event will introduce sudden changes as per Uranus, in order to achieve some, tangible, stable success regarding your goals and mission in life, your health, your career and ambitions. Maybe it will somehow trigger the male figures in your life, like a husband, a brother, a father. Also, check in your natal chart which house cusp falls into Leo, the sign ruled by the sun, because the topics of this house falling into Leo will be as well activated if your sun is triggered by this eclipse. If your moon is triggered by this eclipse, then we're talking that for you on the spotlight will be your health or your emotional life or your place of living, your family, and female or caretaker figures in your life, like mom, like grandma. As well, check which house cusp in your natal chart falls into the sign of Cancer. Since the moon rules Cancer, the topics of this house falling into Cancer will be as well quite activated for you by this particular event. Then if your Mercury is triggered by this eclipse, then we're talking about a change in your thinking patterns, communication style, maybe your local environment will somehow change, some news from your relatives, siblings, about vehicles, travels, documents, contracts. If you have small business, it will be activated, studies, your own skills, your plans might change, your online projects. And don't forget to check which houses in your natal chart fall into the signs of Gemini and Virgo. In case you use, like me, for personal consultations, Placidus system, then we're talking about house cusps in those signs. If Venus is triggered by this eclipse, then we're talking about relationships, partnerships, value system, your self-esteem, your financial situation, your attitude to beauty, to aesthetics, possessions as well, movable property, we can say so, your looks, your friendships, young women in your life, and as well the topics of the houses that fall into Libra and Taurus will be activated by this eclipse. If your Mars is triggered in those specific degrees falling under this eclipse, then you might work on anger issues, anger management, on your personal drive, ambitions, motivation, passion. Maybe it will be related to your sport activities, competitions. Maybe there will be conflicts, maybe dealing with young males in your life. And as well, on the spotlight will be the topics of the houses whose cusps fall into Scorpio and Aries. If Jupiter in your natal chart happens to be in those degrees, then we might talk about changes in your life principles, in your beliefs, in your philosophy, in your faith, even religion. This all can be affected for you. Maybe something new will come related to foreigners, foreign countries, travels, higher education, maybe something related to legal matters and court cases. It might bring you sudden popularity. It might be related to husband figure in female case, female charts. It might activate your success, bring you respect of other people. As well, check please which houses fall in your natal chart within the signs of Sagittarius and Pisces, because these topics in your life will be also somehow triggered by this eclipse. If Saturn happened to be in those degrees, then you literally reap what you sow, what you have sown. You get the results of your hard work, so tangible material success. You can say bye-bye and let go of the superficial things. Also, it depends on what house of your natal chart we're talking, right? And this we will discuss in a moment for each sign. So establishing your own empire, you can have this chance, or destroying the prison, the rules, the prison around you, the old rules, maybe building your own rules. It might be your own business, it might be your own family, it might be building your own home. So it signifies a process of taking responsibility, of making commitments, of maturing. And also check which house cusps in your natal chart fall into the signs of Capricorn and Aquarius. They will be also triggered by this eclipse. Okay, let's also mention the outer planets. Well, if Uranus is triggered for you by this eclipse, then you indeed will be like experiencing a roller coaster in your life, because big intense changes might be on the table for you, some kind of a liberation, some sort of modernization of your life. You might feel super rebellious. You know, be careful not to kind of explode and burn bridges too impulsively. Just, you know, follow the flow of the events. For instance, if a company closes and you're you know, your company for which you work closes and you're fired, well, then say, okay, it's fine. It's for the big, greater good for me. I'll start looking for a job which I truly love doing, and I will be, you know, successful and respected there. But if you suddenly decide to quit and become a freelancer, it's not like it's a bad idea, but just be mindful, like, Am I sure I can handle it the first month without a salary, let's say, until I'm looking for my clients and so on? If Neptune is triggered by this eclipse in those degrees, then you might experience a culmination of a creative or spiritual process. You might experience very elevated love, a love without any unconditional love. You might feel very inspired. There might be a dissolution of something, a letting go of something, healing, accepting. And if Pluto happened to be in those degrees, for instance, in Scorpio, well, that means that truly you are in a big period currently, while eclipses are on this axis this year and even end of last year and next year, while the lunar nodes are passing, well, Ketu, the south node on your Pluto, you are in a process of big transformations. It might be scary, really. You might feel sometimes powerless, controlled, paranoid, and so on. But at the same time, this is the path to empowerment, to regain your own power and to experience your own psychological rebirth, like the phoenix bird, right? So I think we covered basically the general information of this eclipse, and now I would like to proceed with specifics, a little forecast for each zodiac sign. I work with Western tropical astrology. For the sake of these general videos, I use the principles of the whole sign system. That is, if your rising sign, if your ascendant is at 16 Leo, the whole Leo becomes your first house. So then the whole Virgo becomes your second house, and so on. This is how I build my forecasts according to houses, which signify the areas of your life. But I must mention that in my private consultations, I rely more on Placidus system, which I find much more personal and hence, of course, even more specific. But the whole sign system is amazing because it's the oldest one in astrology. Ancient astrologers worked with the whole sign system, of course, paying specific attention to the sensitive points of the ascendant and midheaven. Right, and yes, what to listen to, of course, please do check your rising sign in any website online like astroseek.com, astro.com, and others, according to your date, place, and hour of birth. The website will build for you this round natal chart, and you will see the degree of your rising sign and the sign of it. Of course, this is what counts here. So do listen first and foremost the information about your rising sign, which shows the conditions that this particular astrological events will bring into your life. The material manifestations. I would encourage you as well to listen those 3-4 minutes, the information about your sun sign too. It's very important. It's also quite personal. It's more like how you perceive them and how you react on those external events and circumstances, what you do with them, as the sun is our ego, right? And last but not least, you can as well check the forecast for your moon sign, because the moon sign is about your emotional reaction on those events, about feelings, how do you experience internally what's going on around you. The moon is as well the body, the health, the mind, and especially for people born in the night, or for women, or even for children, their moon sign can also resonate very much with you when you listen to it. All right, so we start with Aries. This total lunar eclipse, this massive, powerful full moon, Aries, happens in your second house. So we're talking about culminations, possibly about endings. For some, just seeing clearly the situation regarding your budget, regarding your finances, regarding how you make money. That is your job, right? So for some, it might be achieving some great results at work, getting paid, getting bonuses, salaries, acknowledgements, rising up your self-esteem, understanding like, hey, I actually deserve much more, for instance. Yeah, maybe because it is a full moon, so it is a peak, it is a culmination, it might be an ending, so saying goodbye to the old job, profession, employer. But at the same time, Rahu is there, and Rahu guides you forward in your life. So don't worry, whatever finishes is to liberate some space for the new and more authentic things to come for you. Of course, because Uranus is here, things might happen suddenly, changes might come as if out of the blue, but it just seems so. It's just if you haven't paid attention where you feel frustrated and like it's not your place. So now maybe you'll go freelancing, maybe you'll open your own business, maybe you'll go to some technological courses to modernize your skills, to earn more money through internet, computer, IT programs, coding languages, computer languages, and so on. So we're talking about diversification and modernization of your income. Maybe you will team up with other people. Yeah, Uranus could be like-minded people. Sudden realizations about your values. What do you value in your life? Maybe life will show you that your health is more important than your work, or that you need to work something else in order to go abroad if you want to relocate. This might be connected to Saturn in your 11th house, the apex of this T-square. So indeed, it might be well-deserved rewards, acknowledgements, bonuses, maybe salary, maybe a pension, anything which you receive as a payoff for your professional expertises and efforts. Also, maybe indeed you will decide to join some collective, like a group of people, like-minded people with whom you have similar vision, very stable, grounded, serious people. Saturn, yeah, like maybe they're older, maybe it's a government project sponsored by the government, maybe it's an NGO for social activities, but there is a serious goal there. And with these people, you start building something new, and it's going to be a long-term project. As well, 11th house is our hopes, dreams, goals, wishes. So seems like here, maybe some financial, material goal of yours is realized, materialized, came to a fruition, maybe thanks to friends, group of people, like-minded people, a team. So these people might help you ground, yeah, because Uranus in second house can be quite unstable income, or everything is so new, so modern that you might feel a bit like lost. But Saturn here in 11th house, maybe your manager sends you to a professional requalification or additional courses to upgrade your professional qualifications through some, like, how to acquire some modern skills, technological skills, and you find this group of people that say to you, it's all right, we will make it, we will pass this studies, and you know, we'll have success further on at work with those new technological skills. Dear Taurus, for you, this eclipse happens in your first house. Yes, you are in a in the storm of eclipses since November last year, and for one more year, I dare to say. In this case, the Tauruses who have ascendant sun or moon between 11th and 21st degrees will feel the most this chaotic vertex of energy with this particular eclipse on the 8th of November. And of course, first house is the body. So some unexpected sudden revelations, news about your health. Maybe suddenly you will be miraculously healed. Maybe you'll find modern equipment and medical technology, or something alternative like sound healing or vibration healing or Bach drops, essences, right? Something that is unconventional and will help you feel better. Or maybe but you know, it's a full moon eclipse, so it's a culmination. So it's not going to be something completely new about your health. Maybe you are ending course of treatment, medicaments. Maybe you are finishing a diet, set of exercises. So now you see the result and you're ready to move forward and, let's say, change your look, change your style, change your wardrobe, content of your wardrobe. First house is the self-esteem as well. Suddenly you will realize how valuable you are, what you have to be proud of in your life about yourself. It's about self-presentation. So because Uranus is here, you might surprise people. You might suddenly say, I don't want this life. I want to, you know, go abroad or change at least the neighborhood, because first house is our immediate environment as well. So it might suddenly change. Personal plans and projects might now come to fruition. You see them clearly. You understand how are you going, whether you need some course correction, right, in order to make the quantum leap into your own evolution, future, and development. And yeah, it's not easy, Taurus, because your energy is fixed. It's about preserving and maintaining. It's about feeling comfortable rather than, and you know, go all through the same road and rut. But now Uranus is taking you out of the rut, and actually you are maybe sweeping other people swiping as well with you. You might reap rewards for your personal projects. Maybe there are some modernization of your home, acquiring more technological skills or technological environment around you, becoming a freelancer, divorcing, separating, becoming a volunteer, becoming an astrologer, going to courses of astronomy, for instance. Yeah, everything Uranian, unconventional, and about the space and freedom. Maybe you're moving to some super high floor, because Uranus is all sky and height. And this all, remember, the apex of this T-square falls to Saturn in Aquarius, and that is your 10th house. So seems like your public image changes as well, your social status, your professional and social position. And yes, Saturn here is the grounding force, the gravitation, because otherwise you can feel like you're on a, you know, you go to this Luna Park and you're on this roller coaster, and suddenly the brakes loose and you go into the space, into the sky. That might feel this way, but luckily here Saturn in your 10th house grounds you, puts some boundaries. So either because you occupy a very important high management position, or you open your own business, so you cannot be just like too freakish, like, you know, like crazy and just burn bridges with other people. No, you have to comply with some rules, because 10th house is your reputation. So suddenly people might be like, wow, so it was like a teenager, and now she or you know, you have you open a website, you open a business, you start trading or something, or you start building your own house. So it is long-term responsibility, right? But it can bring very solid results as well. Maybe some of you get engaged, married, or maybe divorced. Maybe you become parents or uncle, auntie, owner of a home. Maybe at work you become promoted. Maybe you start studies. So, okay, I start studying psychology. Geez, so you will be studying like 7 years, right? Bachelor and master, and then practice, and so on. Maybe you retire. Maybe that's your highest achievement at work. And now you receive the acknowledgements, recognitions, awards for your good professional achievements. And now you can, retire with honors. Basically, you are in a period of personal growth and maturity. And at the same time, there is this sense of liberation. So there is more freedom in your life, maybe more autonomy, at the same time, maybe more responsibility. Like if one opens their own business, for instance. People think, oh, you're a freelancer, you're probably super free. And actually you work like 20 hours a day, oftentimes. But you feel that it's in your own hands to decide, right? Okay, Gemini, for you, this eclipse falls into your 12th house. So full moon, massive endings and culminations and revelations, insights in the 12th house of the subconscious and of the endings. Okay, so you are now cleaning the basements, if you will, or the attics of your emotional and psychological house, so to say, before you would jump into the first house of the new, of being born, of self-realization, of new projects. No, now for you, it's about finishing, ending, cleaning, releasing, letting go, forgiving. Don't try to hold to the past. Go to regressions, go to constellations to work with your ancestors, family, past, parents, past lives, to understand this lifetime experiences better. Very welcomed currently are spiritual practices, all sort of artistic projects. Maybe it's this unconscious writing, unconscious painting, doing mandalas, working with images. Uranus is like a fax from the universe. So you might be waking up with some sudden realizations. Now, on a practical level, 12th house is about faraway lands. So maybe we're talking about you getting more clarity about your relocation process, emigration process, online work, remote work, some projects you were doing in isolation, hidden secretly, not basically revealing them yet to everyone. And now you can actually maybe reveal them. There might be sudden healing because 12th house is across the axis with the 6th house. 6th house is the physical body and health, and 12th house is the mental health. So Uranus might introduce you to new modern medicine technology system, that how you can heal yourself through sound, through vibrations, through lasers, or something like this super modern. You can once and for all, just like with a snap of a finger, quit smoking, quit drinking, really like once and for all, because Uranus is a very sharp energy. It's like lightning from the sky. So, bad habits physically, but also negative thinking pattern, behavior patterns, anything you were holding deep inside of you now can erupt like a volcano. And of course, it might be obviously unpleasant and uncomfortable, but it's needed to clean yourself, right? So it's good here to work with a psychologist or astrologer. You yourself might become interested, or finish a course of astrology. You might discover your psychic abilities. Remember that here is Rahu, the north node. So he's dragging you into the future through anything spiritual, artistic, or maybe you'll decide to work in a charity organization or in a hospital, something which helps others, people with addictions or former convicts, you know, help them adjust to life after imprisonment. Liberate yourself from everything that holds you down, holds you back, holds you in the past, inside your inner world, in order to soon move forward as well in the material outer world. And this all happens through Saturn, the apex of this T-square. The energy steams out through this constructive, pulled together, self-organized, serious Saturn in your 9th house. 9th house is knowledge, experience, your opinion, your studies. So maybe you are really finishing some degree in astrology, psychology. Maybe you get super serious and tangible experience through traveling, through meeting with foreigners. If we talk about emigration, Saturn in 9th house wants you to go through all your documents, translate your degrees, ask for visa, and now all this process might be culminating and ending, so you receive your permit, your visa, your papers, because 9th house is legal matters, and Saturn wants you to be very strict and everything to be well organized regarding you know, dealings with authorities, with the state, with legal institutions. People from different cultures might teach you and expand your horizons, deepening your faith. Your moral code might now crystallize, really. You might be sure about your principles. It's good to get rid of all biases and prejudices here. You might become, or you might be helped by someone very wise, an expert, a serious teacher, mentor, counselor, who is not like sugarcoating you, but who is giving you very practical advices, how to heal, how to understand yourself better. These people might inspire you, but they are really like very constructive and serious. Maybe you are finishing a degree and you become a professionalist and you start working maybe with online public, so you're reaching people even in overseas and abroad, or you find such guru through internet, online, or while you travel. Maybe you will be hired to work overseas. And yeah, maybe you're finishing or winning some court case and kind of some, I don't know, for some of you, maybe there is an end of kind of, you know, like house arrest or some process in which you were kept indoors, like, you know, isolated. And now this isolation finishes and you can, you know, once again experience the world. By the way, to experience the world, it's not necessary to have a backpack and travel around. You can do it exactly through education, which nowadays can be done online, or through documentaries, through visiting your own city, museums, galleries, reading books. This all expands ourselves from within. Okay, dear Cancer, for you, this eclipse falls into your 11th house. So it's an area of friendships. So there might be revelations about your friends, a culmination in a friendship, a culmination in a group project, in a project which you were doing with your teammates. Maybe we're talking about work, or maybe we're talking about a hobby. You know, usually when you attend some dancing lessons like salsa, or even I remember when I was a child, I was going to ballet lessons, and every now and then, like every 3 months, we would make a presentation in front of our parents on a stage. So this kind of culmination for you. Maybe you are suddenly introduced to a new group of people, whether because you start studies, you attend bachelor degree, and wow, there are like 30 colleagues now here, and they're all interested in the same thing like me, right? Maybe you join some NGO, you become a volunteer. Again, when my 11th house was activated, I went to volunteer service to another country for 6 months to work, gain experience. I was not paid, but I gained much more. It was like being abroad, meeting new people, studying a new language, and later I relocated to this country, actually. You might receive acknowledgements, bonuses, payments for your work efforts, for your profession. Maybe for some of you, it might be pension. Yeah, you retire, for instance, and you receive, like, I don't know, in some professions, when people retire, they get like 5 full salaries at once. Or you retire with honors, with an award from your institution, from your colleagues. 11th house is also dreams and goals. And here seems like your dream has achieved its peak, culminating, manifesting, materializing. So you must be, some of you Cancers must be really happy with this. Enjoy consciously. Be grateful for a wish and a dream come true, for a goal being achieved, most probably with your own skills and efforts. And of course, it's time to set new goals, new efforts, and maybe the destiny will meet you with the right people with whom to work on it, people with the same vision and goal like you. It's always very inspirational to have like-minded people, like your tribe, right, with whom to share your ideas, emotions, plans, and so on. And by the way, this all somehow is channeled through Saturn in your 8th house, the apex of the T-square at the moment. So maybe we're talking about goals and dreams related to personal partnerships or business partnerships, because 8th house is when we trust others, when we form deep bond, when we share, whether a household, whether a life, whether a budget, with a spouse, with a partner, with a business associate. 8th house is actually business itself, and mostly it's about psychology, esoterics, like being an astrologer, a tarot reader, and so on. So maybe here you are culminating with this. Maybe you're finishing a tarot course and now you start offering your services online. With Saturn in 8th house, it's very nice if you learn to set clear boundaries and to be very discerning on whom you can rely, who are your true friends, what is just temporary and superficial, so not to invest too much feelings, emotions, efforts into this passing by people, passers-by. And yeah, you might move in with someone, form joint investments for a common business, rent together a property with someone, open a joint account, have a common premises, facilities, chip in with others for some common goal. The dream about 8th house could be pregnancy. So some of you Cancers might be receiving this good news that IVF procedures worked out and you are now parent-to-be, expecting a baby. In this case, congratulations. Maybe some of you have dreamt about a home, a place of living, property. So Saturn is here like a bank, like an institution that gives you a loan. Maybe you receive an inheritance, a mortgage, a scholarship to study, governmental support to do some, let's say, social projects. Saturn in 8th house might give you this determination to free yourself from fears, from traumas, from phobias, from inner pain, like all these self-sabotaging feelings, thoughts, emotions, and everything that holds you down and holds you back from achieving your own dreams and goals, from becoming, let's say, a public figure, from opening some online business, from socializing more, with friends, 11th house, from forming a deep, intimate relationships, becoming a parent, having children, establishing your own business, and so on. So here Saturn can give you this psychological and emotional endurance and stamina to work those things out, and maybe even a proper psychologist and or astrologer, serious one, mentor will come to your life to help you deal with those things. Dear Leos, for you, this eclipse happens in your 10th house, and you will feel it the most if your MC, the career point, is around the 16th degree of Taurus. So we're talking here about sudden and profound changes, not only in your professional life, career, workplace, but also overall in your life direction, in your social status, mission in life. Like maybe suddenly you will receive an insight about what kind of a legacy you would wish to leave after you yourself in the world, right? Maybe you are a scientist, maybe you are a parent, maybe you decide that having a family and being a stay-at-home mom or dad is more important than writing your dissertation or finishing your degree, or vice versa, by the way. So Uranus is sudden, Uranus is authentic and liberating. So maybe you will quit the job where you are depressed, where you feel like a slave, where you don't see the point of what you're doing. Maybe you'll realize that you can do more and deserve to do something different, which you are truly passionate about. I'm a Leo rising, and when Uranus was passing on my MC, well, first of all, regarding social status and personal status, I divorced back then. Second, I was already a freelancer, but I was more linked to agencies and companies because I worked as a freelance tourist guide. So I still collaborated with touristic agencies, but exactly when Uranus hit my MC, and it happened like more than 3 times because it was retrograding above it or on it, and I actually started studying astrology, and I became an astrologer as well. So I believed in my own dream, and Uranus rules astrology, science, technology. So maybe you will introduce more gadgets, tools in your work, in your career. Maybe you'll become a freelancer, or you will join some startup. Maybe you will diversify your profession. Maybe it will be in social services, a collective collaboration, something online. Modernize your career. Don't rush to burn bridges, right? So I would not recommend you, after hearing about Uranus and this eclipse, be like, okay, tomorrow I file my resignation, and then be like, okay, I don't have money to buy bread or pay my rent. So of course, that is why we have here Saturnian influence, because this tension between the sun and the moon, between Taurus and Scorpio, comes out through Saturn in your 7th house. And 7th house are close people in our life, relationships. It can be partner, spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, best friends, relatives. It can be advisors, consultants, lawyers in our life. By the way, 7th house can be about legal matters. So maybe you are starting or winning a court case. Maybe you are signing some new agreements, documents, to join some organization or company. You are hired for something new, because it's a lunar eclipse, so it means culmination, In 10th house, of course, it can be acknowledgements, rewards, awards, ceremonies in which you receive the respect of your employees, colleagues, your students. If you're a teacher, maybe you give a speech and maybe you retire, maybe you go on pension or you go to a maternity leave. Maybe you're suddenly unexpectedly engaged, or there is a divorce, right? Because again, 7th house, legal matters. So now you start this separation of the property with your former spouse, or deciding about the children and so on. But on the other hand, Saturn in the 7th house, yeah, it might in some cases be very serious commitment, so marriage, so buying a property together, you know, and then you are very committed with this person for long term. It might be a work contract. It might be gaining clientele, right? Some serious long-term clients. You might meet important people who are Saturnian people, like they're senior, they're older, they are working for the government, or they're high management, they're in the business, or they're Capricorns. Definitely some long-term and long-lasting and stable relationships you are forming, and it might play out for your status and career development. But again, I would not recommend people do the extra effort and rush and to make some impulsive decisions. I would not even recommend having weddings and marriage, signing, you know, the marriage agreements during eclipse season. Just really after the 8th of November, even better after 24th of November. For now, it's okay to just discuss, to plan, and so on. Dear Virgos, for you, this eclipse falls into your 9th house. So there might be, of course, it's a full moon eclipse, right? So it can be a culmination of studies, of travels, of journeys, of gaining experience. It might be 9th house is beautiful, fancy social events, because it's 9th house is celebrities, popular people. So you might meet such a person, you might meet a guru, a professor, some icon, you know, some inspirational figure for you, or you might become such a person. So you finish your degree, you're not anymore a student, you are now an expert. So you become offering your services, you shine on some professional conference, you show yourself to a public, to an audience, you gain audience, dear Virgos. 9th house is also about court cases, legal matters. So you might end such a dispute or court case, or if you are a lawyer, a prosecutor, public defender, judge, so maybe now there is this important case in your life. So again, you're in the public eye. Very importantly, and suddenly Uranus is like a lightning from the sky. You might change your life principles, life goals, moral code, faith, belief system overall. There might be just like an earthquake within you. Maybe it's provoked by some external circumstances, and you suddenly kind of change your perspective overall on life, what's important, what you should aspire to, what you should achieve, what you need to study. Maybe you'll realize that it's never too late to finish a degree or start a new degree and you know, chase your dream career and so on. And indeed, this opposition, as I talked to the first half of the video, between Taurus and Scorpio, between the moon and the sun, comes through the apex of this T-square, which is Saturn, very serious planet, in your 6th house. And 6th house is about work. It's about performing your duties daily, not only like for money, and it's what we do as work. So maybe you will change your values there, like you'll decide that, let's say, it's enough to do the same role. Maybe I will be aspiring to go to the management position. But for this matter, I need to study because they need some different skills than what I have. So in order to be successfully selected, I need to go first to a requalification course, for instance. And it might be related to Uranus, new technologies, something very modern, scientific. Maybe you need to sit down and write down your master thesis or doctoral dissertation or thesis as well to get your degree in order to become more successful at 6th house at work, to have some professional achievements. Especially if you're maybe in a medical field, you can shine on some medical conferences, you can do some discoveries in the medical field, because 6th house also rules the health. So suddenly maybe through your travels, through reading books, through expanding your horizons, you might come to some very important knowledge or medical system or medical center or medical theory, like this new German medicine, for instance, that will help you heal your body and your problems, physical problems. It might be something foreign, like for instance, I live in Europe, but my very best friend lives in South America, currently in Peru. So she sometimes brings me herbs, special herbs from Peru that we don't have here in Europe, and they help me very much for some female regulation. And I'm super grateful that I would never learn about these herbs if it was not for my friend, and they, you know, truly helped my case. So yeah, it might be something from abroad. You might meet some inspirational coach, mentor who can help you change your routine, because 6th house is not just the health and being whether ill or healthy, it's why we get sick. What do we do wrong on daily basis? So it's our habits. It's sleeping, eating, working, walking. It's dealing with imbalances. So you have the chance to meet such a coach or dietitian, a doctor, right, who can help you with the right diet, maybe according to your blood type. Maybe it can be just a fitness instructor who will motivate you every week to go to the fitness and do your exercises. Because 9th house is travel, 6th house is work, so maybe you will be relocating because of, it might be a business trip, important one for you, or it might be moving an office to a different country, maybe moving for work or moving for health. If you decide that you need some special clinic, special doctors, special system, or even just special, like maybe you decide that you live in a very dirty, polluted city, and you decide that you want to move to a seaside or to a countryside. You will still work remotely, for instance. That's why Uranus in 9th house is anything technological and technical and remote, in order to live a healthier life for yourself. Dear Libras, for you, this eclipse falls into your 8th house. Powerful culminations, because it's a full moon, right? Realization, so we clearly see the whole picture. Maybe readjustments, maybe endings. In order, remember the beginning of the video, in order for a new chapter to start for you. And we're talking, of course, about topics. 8th house is finances through others. It might be that you're receiving, or finally you're done paying off your loan, your mortgage. So you're free. Uranus, liberation, freedom from mortgages, from loans, or it's maybe you have a high-tech business or a startup, and suddenly you find out this governmental program or international program to support freelancers, startuppers, or you join with other like-minded people. Yes, you're not alone anymore. Let's say you're a yoga instructor, yoga teacher, and you join with a person who does acupuncture and another person who is a Reiki master, and you chip in for common facilities, like a studio you hire in order to pay the rent together, but use it all together as well. Culmination, ending of a crisis period. 8th house is difficult periods in life, transformational periods. So maybe with, this eclipses, you are finishing an inner purging, inner transformation, empowering, regaining your strength, your power, fighting phobias, fears that didn't allow you, let's say, to travel, to study, to socialize, to form relationships, like intimacy issues, trust issues, and so on. Any sort of psychological things can be now cleaned once and for all. With Uranus, is like lightning and insight from the universe. Of course, you might find the proper astrologer, psychologist who can give you this aha moment of, which can be very liberating psychologically, but also from purely physical vices and bad habits, like, I don't know, smoking or emotional eating, shopaholism, and so on. Important decisions in personal life might come to you, like deepening or ending intimate relationship. There might be financial changes in your spouse life, in their work. Of course, 8th house is the house of life and death and rebirth. So for some, maybe there is sudden inheritance. For others, maybe there is sudden news of pregnancy or giving birth. And actually, remember the first half of the video, this tension finds a way through Saturn in your 5th house. And Saturn is a very serious planet. And 5th house is about fun, romance, love, love life, or children, or being like a child, playful. And here Saturn is like hold the reins. It's like structuring you within your love life. So maybe it is about your intimate life, and now you decide whether you can proceed with this person in a sense of moving in together, sharing a household, a budget, relying on this person, having a child with this person. So it's something very like, serious commitments in love. And maybe even we're talking about helping out your children. Maybe they go to university, or they want to study abroad. They do some projects of their own, and you need to help them financially, for instance, invest kind of in your children. Or maybe you decide to have a business together with your children. 5th house is also hobbies and creative projects and talents and business. So in this case, your hobby might start finally becoming your business and your source of income, additional income, like consulting someone if you have studied psychotherapy, or opening a blog, but about maybe you like baking, or even about tarot, and suddenly people start coming to you as clients. So yes, on business growth, if you are, of course, serious about it and you put enough effort in it. And last but not least, you do have to allow yourself some joy, time to relax, time to have fun, to shine out your personality, your ego, to discover your talents. And please let others see them as well. Dear Scorpios, for you, this eclipse happens in your 7th house after the shaking eclipse in your 1st house 2 weeks ago. But again, depends on your degrees, because in this case, Scorps, you will feel this eclipse if your descendant is around between 11th and 11th and 21st degrees of Taurus, which means that your ascendant must be between 11th and 21st degrees of Scorpio. Or of course your sun or your moon. And we're talking about changes in your partner's life. So maybe, of course, they will affect you, but this time it will come from your partner. So they reach some sort of endings, culminations, realizing something important in their life, having the insight moment. Maybe they will want to become more free, more authentic, quit job. Maybe they will need to quit relationships as well. So in this case, we need to always kind of let them go, let them free, and just or support them if they need our support and understanding, because Uranus is there, North Node is there, so people need authenticity and true friends who share their vision. For some Scorpios, it might mean separation, or at least putting some space between you and your partners. So the partner or you might go abroad, or some might spend more time studying or working, or just time for yourself. More time for yourself, and partners more time for them, and creating some more personal space and freedom in order to keep enjoying the relationship, but already like complete separated individuals, right? Coming together without codependency and the need to be so much together. You might meet some Uranian people, astrologers, kind of like the underdogs, scientists, freelancers, people who have startups, people who think unconventionally, who want modernization, IT specialists, innovators, rebels, social activists. For some of you, there might be, as I mentioned, separations, divorces, but it is like a liberation. It feels good because Rahu is there, and Rahu is like, you need to move on. For others, it might really meet new friends, like-minded people, soulmates, suddenly get engaged. Again, I don't advise people do important contract signing within the corridor or the season of eclipses. So wait at least a couple of days after the 8th of November, in the best case after the 24th of November, with the full moon, which we will have then, with the new moon, which we'll have then in Sagittarius. And then already the energy starts calming down. So it's all right to proceed with important and lifelong decisions, contracts, and so on. But you might be presented with sudden interesting opportunities within the business area, as for exactly like deals, contracts, business agreements, new associates might come to you, new clients as well. They might be from different cultures, they might be younger generation, they might be highly technically savvy and skilled. And by the way, all this tension between Scorpio you, and there are all these personal planets, which are still a bit more suspicious, planning, strategizing, researching. It's okay, you need your time, that's fine. No impulsive decisions, please, no rush decisions and radical changes, unless people and life pushes you to them. We don't resist those external signals and changes, but we don't provoke them. So yeah, this tension between you and the others finds its way out through Saturn in your 4th house. So that's the support of your family. Saturn is the solid foundations, and 4th house is the family background, is your internal emotional life. So you get this stronger inner core, this kind of like the skeleton that holds you straight, right? So nothing can break you. It's not just becoming strong but not so emotional. Yeah, remember the Saturn, for me, it's always like a rock amidst this stormy ocean, but Saturn stays still and strong. And in your case, such safe haven can be your family, your parents. Place of living must be now like, you know, my home is my castle, as we say. So you might feel safe and secure there, but be careful not to build too high walls, right? Not to hide there for eternity. It's more like building solid foundations. Maybe it's with your new partner. So you have this honest conversation and you're like, hey, I want family, I want home, I want stability, or I want to relocate, I want to move abroad. Will you come with me? Will you follow? Or maybe they need to relocate because the new things happen in their lives. So they will kind of drag you with them to the new country or to the new office or to the new city at the very least. So you will have to build from the scratch new foundations there. Maybe you will present your partner to your parents and you will need to, for a time being, live together, or the opposite. Your partner will be like, it's enough of living together in the same place. Let's move out. Saturn in 4th house can ask you to build boundaries with your parents and keep only the really useful and reasonable traditions. So if you decide that the old concepts of education from your childhood are not anymore reasonable and valid, so you will educate your children in a different manner, how you envision their personalities and lives. So yeah, here it's about relying and respecting your ancestors and family, letting go of childhood offenses and grudges and traumas. Be very decisive, calm, and stable about this. Be grateful, of course, that you were born and that you were raised as you are, such a beautiful, perfect human being as you are. But at the same time, choose your own path, maybe under the influence of some very interesting, unconventional people who will ask you to go to live with them in some common shared space, for instance, like this squats that you can find at least in Europe, like in France, for example, in Paris. They're just these old abandoned buildings, but now artists live in them. So maybe you will follow these people, but still not cutting ties with your roots, with your ancestors, your family. Maybe you are meeting some people from your country of origin, if you have been expat for many, many years, or people from the country of origin of your grandma or grandfather, and you start being interested in their traditions, and you know, you visit this country, for instance, you like it, you decide to establish a home there. Right, so Sagittarius, for you this eclipse falls into your 6th house. So we're talking here about revelations, culminations, maybe big achievements, professionally, from your work, from your career. You might receive acknowledgements, rewards, bonuses at your work, maybe because it's like a culmination. Maybe you are retiring or quitting job, or company is dissolved, and you say goodbye to your colleagues or employees. But remember, it's all for the best because Rahu is there. So endings must happen, realization must happen, readjustment must happen in order for you to be dragged and follow your own mission in life, your destiny in this lifetime. So yeah, change of job, team, workspace, the projects. Maybe you're finishing a long, tough project at work, and now suddenly, because Uranus is everything sudden, you are maybe supported by your IT department, by people skilled in technology. Maybe you hire some knowledgeable people with you know, in these technical areas, and they help you out with modernizing your office and your work. Uranus might give you more independence, autonomy at work, modernization, new technologies. The work might become remote, online, with more gadgets. Also, sixth house is about health. So here we can talk about culmination in some medical treatment, healing, clarity at the very least on what's going on with your health and your conditions, liberations from pain, from also from some duties like house repairs, taking care of someone. Yeah, because sixth house is how we deal with uneven, unbalanced, unfair situations. It might be divorces, court cases. So here you're done with this. You're cleaning yourself from this. You're cleaning your body from toxins, from bad habits. You know, flush out as physical as well as mental kind of restrictions and fears, addictions, and so on. This all goes kind of through, remember the T-square I talked about in the first half of the video, through Saturn in your third house. So Saturn is structure and solid foundations, professional attitude, and third house is education. So maybe you will subscribe to some serious, long, in-depth course that can help you later with your work or even with your health. It might be related to medicine, to acupuncture, to breathing techniques, yoga, meditation, and whatnot, which actually can be very beneficial for you, but it might be also related to manual skills, because remember, sixth house is how to repair things. So maybe you want to repair your home, but you don't want to hire workers. So you think that you are capable enough to do it yourself. Some people really are. So that's why third house, a lot of courses, videos, studies online, how to do it yourself, DIY, right? Gaining useful skills and knowledge, exchanging information with others through seminars, business trips, maybe. Educate yourself on health matters. Maybe you will become masseur after a course of massages. It's great to sort out your desk, your documents, maybe your health documents. Setting boundaries, Saturn is important. Third house is our local community, the neighbors, the siblings. Maybe everyone are like waiting for your help, for your support, you to motivate them. And suddenly you are very tired. Yeah, sixth house, eclipses through sixth house can be tiring, can be very demanding on your physical body and your health. So here it's more like Saturn in third house is really establishing clear boundaries. What hours you can be accessed by the phone, right? Not constantly 24/7. How much you can help and so on. You can meet people, important people, through community work, helping in the neighborhood, through travels, especially maybe to wellness resort. Yeah, third house is to travel, to go somewhere, maybe not so much far away abroad, but in your country, in your region, in your neighborhood. So maybe you will be making more trips for some wellness spa or health care facility. And maybe you will be able to rely at work on the skills of your colleagues, because third house is also our mates, our like people with whom we meet daily. So those can be exactly your colleagues or employees at work. So some new workforce can arrive to assist you. Dear Capricorns, for you this eclipse marks some important realizations or culminations in your fifth house. And it can be sudden, as through Uranus. And fifth house is love, romantic relationships. So here, the existing already relationship can come either to an end or to, it's time to go to a next level, next step. So in a sense, engagement, moving in together, having a shared household budget, planning, buying a house, planning having children, because fifth house is also about children. So maybe here there is a news of pregnancy, or there is even a kind of resolution of pregnancy, which is giving birth. So some Capricorns may become parents, or maybe you become a teacher or aunt, uncle, yeah, because fifth house is any sort of children coming to your life. Of course, if you decide that your romantic partner is kind of not the one you would like to long-term spend your life with, maybe suddenly there will be like separation, and then space will be opened, energy will be ready to accept the new authentic love for you. Remember, Uranus wants liberation and authenticity, and the North Node is here, and North Node is taking you towards your true life mission and true purpose. And in the fifth house, maybe it is related to children, or to people in a love sense. Fifth house is also what we love doing, what brings us pleasure, our talents. So suddenly you can discover a new talent. Maybe you can sing, maybe you can bake cakes. And Uranus is technological, so you can use technology for your hobbies. It can be something related to computers or gadgets, or it can be related to astrology or science, aviation. And you will decide to do it more and more for pleasure, for fun, but also eventually for money, because fifth house is also the business, our own entrepreneurship. And especially this is important about the financial part, because if you have seen the first part of the video, we have this opposition between Taurus and Scorpio, and the tension between the planets comes through Saturn, who is in your second house. And of course, Saturn is your ruler. So you are like in between these energies of fifth house and 11th house for you, of Scorpio and Taurus. So it's like maintaining the old or jumping into the new, what foundations to keep. And you, Capricorn, you like solid structure, solid foundations, right? Long-term achievements, but Uranus also wants some changes and modernization. In any case, here Saturn is in your second house, so we're talking about putting effort and self-discipline into work, into earning money, spending money wisely. Spending money, yes, not just keeping money for for worst times or something, but to spend them for what's really needed, what's really practical, what can help you, for instance, develop in your business. So trying to make the income stable. Maybe if we talk about the love, it must be including some traditional values. Maybe you're learning to play a role of a confident professional expert, the person on whom others can rely, kind of the godfather who can help people. And your own children might come to you with some sudden news like, hey, I want to go to California to study there, or to France. Well, now you as a parent or as an uncle, aunt, you must earn more money in order to help your child or your niece to basically nephew, niece, to basically, with money, financial support. Or for your own new, extravagant, maybe unconventional hobbies, like if you decided you like aviation and you want to go on pilot courses or flying courses, I think in some countries it's not a cheap pleasure, so you would need to comply with work rules, earn more, take more work projects probably, and in order to develop in what you love doing. But the best thing, of course, for some Capricorns could be start earning from your business, which can be quite modernized, introducing new technologies and some more like IT skills, for instance. Dear Aquarius, for you, this eclipse falls into your 4th house, and you will feel it the most if your eye see the point of family and home is located around the 16th degree of Taurus. So because it's a full moon, we have some realization, culmination. Uranus is there, which wants to introduce some changes. Uranus might mean like this aha moment, this wow, I didn't realize this till this very moment. So and also Rahu is here in your 4th house. Rahu, that's the focus for evolving, for progress, for development, and it happens through your family life. So for you, this eclipse might bring new home, relocation. Maybe it will cut ties with your old families, your homeland, your traditions. Maybe you will meet new cultures. Maybe you are currently raising children, or there is news in the family in a sense of weddings, engagements, pregnancy, and you decide you build your own traditions, basically, yeah, for your own home. Kind of my home, my family, my marriage, my rules, my children, my rules. Maybe you will do some modernization of your home, like, I don't know, putting some cameras, some sound systems, alarms, and more gadgets at home, having a home office, buying 2 computers, 2 monitors, if you do something online or, you know, related to ITs and computers. Maybe you're doing astrology, coding, scientific research from home, or it might be a research about your ancestries, your genes. You might discover like all this sort of different nationalities and ethnicities and blood running through you. More freedom and independence from family. Maybe financially you gain freedom and independence because, let's say, you have a property, you repaired it, you start renting it, and you receive the rent, and you're free to travel, for example, or study for the profession you dream about. And kind of this tension between Taurus and Scorpio, between your 4th and 10th house, where the eclipses happen this year and next one. Currently, it forms a T-square with Saturn. So the apex, the way out for this tension is through your traditional ruler, Saturn, in your 1st house of the self, of your own plans and goals for the future, your own projects, the house of beginnings. Of course, it's also the house of health and look. So Saturn here gives you this look of mature person, of elder wise person, of the godfather who can solve any issue, whom people respect and come to you. Yeah. How do you start your initiations? Well, you start them decently and self-confidently, knowing already that you have this experience and that you are a leader, a true, confident, reliable leader. Of course, you internally might feel old and heavy, and it's a lot of responsibilities, especially because of 4th house. Maybe there is some changes at home, so suddenly maybe you become the head of your family, or you have to deal with the repairments, buying, selling, relocation. So yeah, for one person it's a tough job, but it might be relocating because of work, or because of health, or because of partner. So you have to suddenly adapt to new environment, right? New language, new neighbors, new people. So that requires Saturnian discipline and stability, not to be super emotional, not to overthink, No, Saturn is grounded. It's like step by step what we have to do. Remove everything emotional and freakish and superficial. We're serious and mature here. So also seems like in your life you are now learning to combine the traditions and something new, modern, fresh, and exciting. You know, and your family knows that they can all rely on you. You have the authority, experience, the right judgment, and you can also establish boundaries, by the way. Here is also important that Saturn in the first house is not like hiding in a cave, not being cold and rude to people, but it's being assertive and have your own values and boundaries and not letting others overwhelm you. It might be about your parents and relatives. And remember, Saturn works slowly but surely. So slowly but surely you can relocate, you can start a business with property or online business remotely working from home. So make yourself a home office or build your home or form your family. And everything that you do now, the point is for it to stand the tests of time, right? To have this longevity. And it's very much related to property or family. Or maybe emotions, maybe you're putting in order your emotions, your childhood memories, if you come back to your old place of living, then you might realize that, you know, what traditions to keep on maintaining and what to just, or models of education and lessons and patterns, how to behave. Now you can kind of decide what to keep and what to modernize and change. Dear Pisces, for you, this eclipse happens in your third house. So we have some culmination or endings related to your close environment, neighbors. So maybe you're changing neighborhood suddenly, or neighbors leave and new ones will come to live next door to you. Maybe you are moving team at work, so you have suddenly new colleagues. Maybe you're ending your course, your education, so you are certified, you receive your diploma certificate, you graduate, so you kind of quit this group of people with whom you used to study. Yeah, end of studies, maybe you got your important knowledge and skills. Maybe there is a culmination of your online business, especially if it's related to marketing, to sales, logistic, vehicles. The business might come to an end, or you might now see it more clearly and see where you need to change to adjust how much more modernization it requires. Maybe you need to introduce some website applications, new technologies. You need to hire IT team or team of promoters who online will help you out. Diversification of your business, right? So you cannot be one-man show eventually if your business grows. So you need one accountant, you need a PR campaign team. Now you need to focus on your products, then you need a sale team, right? So each person must do their own business, which they can do the best in order for all the company to grow. Maybe you're separated from relatives. Maybe till now you lived with your siblings or cousins, and now you go your own way. Uranus is super genius, and it gives this aha moments, inspiration, message from from the universe. So very likely you will have some brilliant, inspiring, innovative ideas, because third house is the thinking, it's the communication. Here, be careful not to be too impulsive and sharp with people and just like burn bridges with your words. Yeah, mind your words here. But you might meet people whom, like, you might talk some things, let's say about astrology or cryptocurrency or something new, modern, startup, and some people will be like, are you crazy? But then you will find the right people, maybe in online forums, who will be like, hell yeah, we understand you, we like the same. Maybe it's a video game, right? Maybe, or it's some new super modern technology, and you will find the like-minded people with whom you will exchange knowledge and information and do the networking. By the way, this all is related to Saturn in your 12th house. Remember, is the apex of the T-square forming in the moment of this eclipse. And Saturn is in your 12th house. So 12th house is everything we do kind of in isolation. So it might be related to online work, to collaborations with foreigners, people from different countries, overseas. It might be related to emigration. So maybe you are now dealing with paperwork. Yeah, third house is documents, visas, language courses, because you want to relocate. 12th house is ending something, by the way. So maybe a project in secret finally is like published and revealed. You were working the last couple of months about your website, blog, and now it's like, open there for public. Maybe you were treating your health somewhere in wellness spa or retreat. And yeah, third house is vehicles, traveling. So maybe every weekend you were traveling to some healthcare procedures. Maybe it was spiritual retreat, psychological therapy here. Saturn in 12th house wants a serious attitude towards your inner world, your psychology, your past, reevaluating your past, letting go of what no longer serves you, like patterns of behavior, of thinking, reaction models, most probably what you have learned in childhood, or even what drags from past lives. So here, some good regression or constellation might help you with this. Saturn is usually elder people, and in 12th house, it might be your ancestors who help you, who give you guidance, who advise you, maybe through your dreams or in your meditations. But in any case, it's excellent time to quit bad habits, resolve emotional issues. Maybe it's about the third house, what people think about you. It was important until now. Now you can relax more about it. Maybe you will go to group therapy, because talking it with other people, or constellations. I know that constellations are done with other people as well, participants. Maybe you're writing therapeutic letters, like writing an angry letter to someone. Never send it, never show it to this person, but just like let your emotions run to a paper, because whatever you write, it's like taking it out of yourself and externalizing it. That's why it's important to speak it out, best to your therapist, safely, in a safe environment, or writing down and then, like, say, cut or burn the letter. It's a ceremony as well. It's an act of releasing and letting go of these negative thoughts and emotions. Maybe you are adjusting your way of communicating, of thinking, changing your thoughts from negative to positive pattern. Affirmations are very helpful here. Every morning, like guided meditations, or in front of the mirror, affirmations for strength, for confidence, for health, beauty, love, and so on. It's important to be self-supportive, to be kind and positive towards yourself, and of course to be surrounded. Remember, third house is your environment. So maybe you will decide subconsciously that this environment is not healthy anymore for me. I deserve and I want something better, kinder, or more interesting, more exciting, more innovative, something new about your environment for your own better emotional and mental well-being. So, my dear friends, that was the video about the upcoming total lunar eclipse in Taurus. I wish you a positive, wonderful eclipse with only beneficial, positive changes for you, for all of us, collectively and personally. Let's ride the wave of changes and be happy for the new opportunities coming into our lives. Thank you so much for commenting, for liking, for sharing these videos, and of course for subscribing to my channel. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.